Hi there, welcome to Purse Strings and to our Thursday Lunch and Learns. My name is Maggie Nielsen. I am a partner at Purse Strings, and here we are all about providing financial education for women, some tips, tricks, know-how, advice. But then when you're ready to, start saving for college or, you're thinking about retirement, you need some insurance, you might be getting a divorce, you might be getting married. We have professionals to help you along the way, so you are financially prepared and financially fearless in that process. Those professionals that are vetted and approved are called our Purse Strings approved professionals, and Anna Felix is one of them. So we're so excited to have Anna on today and to talk about getting smart about college savings. This month is November, so we're talking more about gifts and thankfulness and abundance. So this is more of, how you can help that gift of college savings. But before we dive into all that fun, Anna, could you give us a little intro of who you are and what you do?
Yes. So thank you, Maggie, first of all, for having me here. I'm excited to be sharing this information today. I am a native Californian. I am a smart money strategist. I speak a couple languages, and what I love to do is some of the things you just mentioned, just really empower women about their money and giving them some great tips and savvy things that we can do.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to dive into this conversation. If anyone does have any questions throughout, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll try to get those taken care of. If you are watching the replay, you can still post them and we will work on coming back and getting those answered for you. So, as we dive in today, what is a financial strategy that you can use to help those who want to bless their children or grandchildren with something that can make a significant difference?
Yeah, so I call it the PRA, or the private reserve account. And the idea is it's just like a bank account with a ton of other really great options that I'll share. So this time of year, as you said, there's a lot of grandparents that are thinking about what is the most effective thing that I could do for my grandchildren? How can I help them best for their future? And this is a terrific way to do that. If you didn't know, you can contribute up to $16,000 towards each grandchild for a total of 160 max. So depending on how many grandchildren you have, maybe you need to do less than that. I mean, just putting it out there, if you have it and you want to bless them with that, this is a great way to do that. And, by the way, a lot of people didn't even know that that's the number. So it's good to know what are those limits per grandchild and what can you do. And the idea is that they have a bank that is growing based on the growth of the S&P 500, not actually being in the S&P 500. So right now we have market loss and a lot of things that are happening, but in a type of account like this, that wouldn't be the case. And so, you don't even really get like 1% in most savings accounts. So It's a good thing. And that's traditionally what grandparents have done, right? Put some money in a bank account and that's great. So this is, if that's a custom that you've had, if that's something that you're used to doing, then this is just a way to do that. I say, like, put it on steroids, right? Like, just give them a lot more growth, somewhere between 5 and 6% compound interest every year, far better than that 1%. So it's a great tool, and it can be used for many things. We're talking a lot about college, savings today, but it can really do anything that grandchild wants to do with it later in the future.
And I heard that word compound interest, which we know is magic. So having that, not just 5 to 7% every year, but compounding, ding, 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 we have a winner. That is what we like. And so, I know a lot of people kind of set up 529 plans for their kids or for their grandchildren. So this is different than a 529 plan. Can you kind of explain like how it's different, or, what the benefits might be versus just doing the 529?
Yeah, sure. So 529 plans, when you hear college savings, that's generally where everyone goes. And obviously it's a way to save money as well. It's tied to mutual funds. So one of the ways it's different is it can lose money, because when you're in mutual funds and the market goes down, you can lose money with that. So that would be one of the differences. The other difference is that when you go to apply for any kind of federal aid, which is called FAFSA, which stands for Federal Free Application for Federal Student Aid, FAFSA. If you are applying for that kind of aid, any kind of money that you have in a 529 plan does count against you for that. Many people don't know that. So that is declared income that will then reduce your amount of federal aid. The really cool thing is any money that you have in a private reserve account is not declarable on that form. So you can have that money there, you can potentially use it for that, but it's not going to reduce the amount of federal aid that you have. So that's always a really good thing.
That's a huge differentiator.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like, why would I want to shoot myself in the foot if I don't, need to? Like it seems kind of counterintuitive that you would, kind of punish someone for having put money aside, and maybe that's not how they look at it, but that's kind of how I look at it. If it's going to mean I get less aid, then maybe that's not such a great thing, but that's how it works. The other thing is 529 plan really needs to be used specifically for education. So a couple of years ago, they did make the provision where you could use it for, even high school, private schools, maybe some religious organization schools earlier than college age, which is great because prior to then it was specifically post-secondary education. So that's a good thing. But just think in terms of that is going to be something related around schooling and education. And there's a ton of little things, and I don't know all those details. I mean, a certain percentage can be used for books and for tuition and even for housing to a certain limit. But the idea is that that money is definitely going to be used specifically for education. So that's great if your child is on that track. Right. But if they happen to not be, if they happen to be more entrepreneurial, if they happen to be more interested in starting their own business, then any money that you have in that account is not going to be able to be used for those purposes. So that's why the private reserve account is a really great option, because it gives you options and choices. Yeah. If they truly are going to move on and go to college and all that, fantastic. It's there. It can be used for that. If they have other things, if they're going to start a business, if they have interest in other places, you can still use that money for those things. So it's kind of just giving them more options. And I think that's what makes it a superior plan.
Definitely. I mean, because college is not the route for everyone. And that's kind of predicting, if 18 years down the road, what your plan's going to be, which I appreciate you helping me out on that venture, but I can't promise you that in 18 years, I'm going to still make that decision.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's just all about having options, positive growth, no loss.
Definitely. Now I'm hearing a ton of great benefits, and I was telling you even before we jumped on that I was excited about this conversation because I've never even heard of these private reserve accounts. So it almost sounds too good to be true. Like, why is this not more common knowledge? Why do we only hear about these 529s? Can you address this for us?
Yeah, well, it's something I would love to know myself. So most people don't call it a private reserve account. It's usually called infinite banking, build your own bank. In the industry, it's called those things. So maybe you've heard those things. But even in the audience at large, it's just not been something that many advisors, planners, whatever have done. And it's just a great tool. It is something that the ultra wealthy have used for many, many years. And I think it's just kind of been pigeonholed into specifically for that group. And that might be why, it's not been addressed for everyone. But the really great thing that I learned about 7-8 years ago when I got into the industry was that I could start this type of an account with a couple $100 a month. And in the scenario that we're talking about, we're saying, at the end of the year, grandparents have extra money. They want to put a lump sum in there. They can do that for sure. but they could also put a couple $100 a month away and be able to do that. So it really makes it available for anyone, wherever they're getting started. And that's what I love about having these, growth favored accounts, like you said, utilizing compound interest, not participating in any loss, all the things that seem like, wow, I have a 401k and it's experiencing loss and it's doing all
Yeah.
those things. I would much rather have an account like this. So, it's just that you can have these advantage things that seem too good to be true, but they are true. And you can do them at a level that you're able to. So, some people are putting several $1,000s a month away into something like this. Others are starting, have just a single father that I helped yesterday. He's putting $100 a month for his 1-year-old son. What a great place to be doing that. They're both starting off on the right foot. He's doing, a little bit more for himself. But he said, what a great thing to start my child off with a bank of their own. Like we always think about when the kids are, 4 or 5, we get them a bank account, right? And that's exciting. We want to teach them the value of money and how to do these things. What if you started their own bank? Like, let's take it a step up and give them the whole bank. Like, why not? If I can do that, then awesome. And then they have the ability to control it, take money out when they want to, all of these things. And because these accounts are funded with post-tax money, when you take money out from them, it is not a taxable event. So that is tax-free money going to them. So it is true. It's just, I think it's always been kind of pigeonholed into thinking that you had to have lots and lots of money to fund it. And you can do that. And it's a great thing. Obviously, the more money you fund your bank with, the greater the benefits, but it doesn't have to be. And so that's what I'm really excited to say is that, we really can do this and meet you wherever you are at. And you still have these really cool advantages that others more privileged have been enjoying for a long time.
Interesting. Because, I definitely have heard of infinite banking concept, and this has been the simplest way I've heard about it so far. Usually I'm kind of get lost in the middle. So I like kind of the simple explanation. And so going back to you started saying you could do 6,000 a year per grandchild. Is that if you were to create, kind of your own bank, is that limit still there of like a 6,000 per year or something like that? Or is that only as a gifting item?
Yeah. So the gifting limit is actually 16,000, just to clarify that.
Got it.
And there is no limit in terms of this bank as to what you could put in it. So if you're doing it as a gifting thing, that there is that limit in terms of your taxes and not, definitely something you want to talk with your CPA about, because that's not something that I handle. But in terms of, let's say that, you did that for a grandchild, but then your grown child doesn't know anything about this type of an account. This is something that they could use for a retirement plan. So it's awesome because the structure is the same. It's your bank. Now, what you use the funds for and how you fund it and how it's designed can be very fluid depending on what you're doing it for. So it can be for college. It can be for retirement. It can create a tax-free retirement flow of money. It can be a way to pay mortgages. It can be a way to pay cars down the line. It's just, what do you typically use money in your bank for? How is it that you want to use it? And then we, make those plans around that. I have kind of a funny story. I met with a business owner. It's probably been about 3 months ago, doing very well. She's very successful. And just talking about her path and where she was going, she said, I'm really going to feel like I've arrived when I can buy my Bentley. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So that's the goal. I mean, it's always good to have a goal that we're working towards. And she said, absolutely. And I said, do you want to build that into your plan? Like, we could literally make it that you pull out 200,000 in 6-7 years, whatever that is. And she was like, oh, I can actually do that. Like, that would be so cool. So yes, it's your bank. And, depending on the level that you're funding it, you're going to use it for these goals and things that you have in life. So that's what's awesome, is that it can be something, just a beginning starting place.
Yeah.
Can also be something to help you reach, your wildest dreams, that really help you feel like you've arrived. So that's what I love about it. And the simplicity of it is really the reason that I love it and love sharing it with people, because I'm all about keeping things simple. Like, it just makes it so much easier. And we're excited when we're embarking on something that we fully understand. Like, there's so many things sometimes that get explained in the financial world that I'm just like, okay, I totally did not get that. And when that's the case, then you're not so apt to participate, or you feel like, oh, I had too many questions about that and I don't even want to go there. And so then we just don't take advantage of these things. And that's really my goal, is to make this simple to understand and easy to implement.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, that kind of leads me into my next question. What are the steps of getting this PRA in place?
Yeah, it's as simple as booking an appointment. We get together, and then we look at, what is the goal for the plan? Is it for a grandchild? We need to obviously get their information, figure out what the goal is, figure out how much someone wants to put in. And that's what I love about it, is you really get to create it. Like, that Build-A-Bear store that they have, like, you get to pick, all the features, the clothes, those type of things. Like, we enjoy those type of things. And this is what you get to do with this. You get to pick, it's not something like, it's something that's going to be too difficult for me to implement, or, it's going to really push me financially more than I feel comfortable with. Not at all. It's, where are you? What are the goals? And then we put that together. And then we do an application for it. Usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks, depending on, timing and the time of year and that type of thing. And then it gets funded when everything has been approved. So it's really a simple process. I work with people across the US. So you're literally a Zoom call away from figuring out what your plan could look like.
And it seems like it's 3 to 4 weeks to get it done. Christmas is right around the corner. Get started today. You'll be ready in time. It might not seem like the sexiest gift today to someone small, but promise you, when you're older, you'll be like, oh, they were thinking of me. They understood.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this has been a ton of great information today, really learning, what these private reserve accounts are, how they're different than 529s, how we can really gift them to our family or just for ourselves to, really launch our wealth growing goals. I love it. I love it. Are there any other tips, tricks, pieces of advice you wanted to make sure that is shared today before we sign off?
Yeah, I would just say that one of the other things that I love about this concept is that I can work with starting, a child off, a baby, literally. The requirements have to be at least a month old. So really start them off right on the right foot immediately. Or someone, in the middle, someone getting ready to embark on getting married, and as a couple want to get something started for their future. Just kind of anywhere along the path that you are, this is something that you can benefit from. I would say that anybody over 62, it no longer makes sense for them. Then there's some other strategies that we can do. But it's just kind of awesome that wherever we find out about this information, we can utilize it based on where we are in life and what we're looking to achieve.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, if anyone else has any questions or wants to put this in place, you can always email Anna. Her email's been going through the bottom down here at Mod Financial. She's also one of our Purse Strings approved professionals. So you can check her out on our site, pursestrings.co. Yeah, don't be afraid to give her a call, dabble, try it out, see what you think. Would love to hear anyone's feedback. So thank you again, Anna, for coming on today. And we will see everyone again here next week talking about gifts and gifting, holidays and abundance. So yeah, we're excited to have everyone here and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.